Hello everyone, Melody here, mom of 4 in our blended family of 6. Welcome to our channel. If this is your first time viewing our channel and you like this video, please take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and check us out on Instagram at Homeschool Happy Hour. Today's video is going to be a little different. Normally we talk about curriculum and just parenting stuff in general. Today I'm going to focus on, as a homeschool parent, what have I learned this year and what are we going to change for next year? So this year, at the end of the year, the bookworm was really pushing to go to public school, and we discussed it, and I'm really happy to say that we've decided to stick with homeschooling for another year, but her insistence on wanting to go to public school really made me question, like, what am I doing that is unappealing to her so much so that she wants to go to public school? And while we were talking about public school versus homeschool, I even talked to Bean, and she was like, well, I prefer homeschool, but really I'd rather just not do school at all. And so these responses from my kids, while are difficult to hear because I put a lot of work into homeschool, they give me an opportunity to think about what we're doing that is working and what we're doing that's not working. If you didn't know already, I've been homeschooling for 7 years. We just finished our 7th year. Next year will be our 8th year. Yay! And we have fallen into some patterns that really are not best suited for the optimal homeschool, in my opinion. Other people are constantly asking me, because we've homeschooled for so long, for advice on how do you homeschool? What's the best way to homeschool? And I am telling them repeatedly, there is no one way. Take the opportunity, observe other families, see what they're doing, pick and choose what works for you, and then over time you'll discover you have your own rhythm and you have your own patterns and you have your own methods. It really depends on your child's learning style and your teaching style and your family's schedule, and there are all these unique pieces that come together in order to make your individual perfect homeschool. If you show me 100 homeschool families, I'll show you 100 different ways to homeschool. The one piece of advice that I give consistently is don't try and reproduce public school in an effort to homeschool. That is the one thing that I hear is the least successful as far as methods to homeschooling. And yet, when I look at our homeschool, I find, if I'm being honest, that that's what we're doing. And so the first thing that I have set a goal for myself for next year is to remember that homeschool is not public school at home. Homeschool is homeschool. Homeschool can be whatever we want it to be. There have been many different factors that have contributed to the reason why our homeschool looks more like public school. I have done much of that, not being very excited about it. I'm not really wanting to reproduce the public school, but silver lining to COVID, if there is one, has been that some of those pressures that were on us to look like public school are disappearing, as well as society is becoming, in my opinion, more open to, hey, look, homeschool can be a really good choice for families. And so I kind of had an epiphany, and I was like, oh my gosh, all this pressure that I was under, very real pressure to do things a certain way, is kind of gone. I don't have to worry about it for next year. And so I asked myself, if I had a blank slate for next year, what could I do differently in order to make our homeschool more successful, both from my perspective as a parent and almost more importantly, from my children's perspective? Because sure, I can sit there and I can make them learn, and I can make them recite their multiplication tables and recite their states and capitals, and I don't believe that they have to love every single thing they learn. There are some things they just need to learn, but the bulk of their education, I should be able to find a way to provide them the materials and the opportunities to learn in a joyful way. And so that is my first goal for next year, is to reorganize our homeschool so that we can look more like what we should have been looking like for years and a lot less like the public school. That means I need to stop worrying about what everyone thinks. As a school board member to a public school, sometimes I get comments, or people will comment to me not realizing that I'm a homeschooler, dogging on the homeschoolers, which, as you can imagine, I don't respond really well to. And then they kind of backtrack and they're like, oh, no, we're not talking about you. You do it right. You do it well. We're talking about all those other homeschoolers. And let me tell you, people, it takes a lot of biting my tongue to make it through those situations civilly, but generally I do. And what I really want to tell them is one of the biggest failures in my homeschool are the things that you guys as public schoolers are telling me I'm doing right, because it looks like public school and it shouldn't. So we are going to keep a lot of our curriculum that we'd planned on using for next year, of course, because I'm not about to go all the way into unschooling. That just doesn't fit my personality. It doesn't fit my teaching style, and I don't really think it would fit my children's learning style. But we do want to bring a little more of that unschooling in and intermingle it with the curriculum we're using. That means I need to stop stressing about the curriculum itself. What will happen if we don't finish a curriculum? Nothing. Nothing will happen. It'll be perfectly fine. My kids will still learn things. If we take our time and we focus on the things that they enjoy learning rather than moving on to the next thing just so we can finish the curriculum, they'll probably learn more because they're going to absorb those things and have more fun with it. The other thing that I intend to do is a little rearranging of my house, and we need to stop sitting at the table so much. We do all our schoolwork in our schoolroom at the table, and I do think that there's going to continue to be a time and a place for that, but I want to get up and move our bodies more and go outside more, go on field trips and have some experiential learning a little more than just book learning, and let the children lead the way. I want them to give me their ideas on what they want to learn and how they enjoy learning, and incorporate that into our day. So give them a little bit more power in our homeschool experience, because it's not just about me and what I think they need to learn. They should have some input too. Mostly I just want to focus on the joy and remember that where my children rank compared to their peers, it doesn't really matter. Nobody remembers what they learned in 3rd grade when they went to public school, because it was just, we get through the test, we get the grades, we move on, but we forget about it. And so I feel like if they have joy in their learning, they're going to absorb that material more. They're going to like it a lot more. For example, the bookworm was really into World War II. We haven't covered World War II in our homeschool at all. But I guarantee you that she could tell us more about World War II than she probably could about anything else we covered during the school year. Why? Because she enjoyed that material. She was interested in it. She went to the library and got those materials for herself and learned about it on her terms, which, it's my understanding, is more of an unschooling style. So I would like to incorporate that in with our curriculum. I don't know if this video made a whole lot of sense to you guys. Maybe it's just rambling. But as the year comes to an end, this is my opportunity to do that self-evaluation, to think about what we want to do for next year. I've been reading some books, and well, I never have time to read books. I have been investing more time in my personal interests and listening to audiobooks with some really good advice on homeschooling and unschooling and finding a balance with all of those things. And I'm looking forward to next school year. I'm hoping that I can report to you guys next school year that, oh my gosh, my kids started loving school again, because how amazing would that be, right? Right? If you have any tips, tricks, advice on how you have individualized your homeschool and brought joy into your homeschool classroom, whether that classroom takes place at a table or in your backyard or out on field trips, however that works for you. What have you found brings the most joy into your homeschool? I really look forward to hearing from you guys and getting your comments and your feedback. I am so excited about next year. I think it'll be fabulous. Until then, have a wonderful summer vacation if that's what's happening in your neck of the woods, and we'll see you next time.